Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. I'm always pleased to have Lieutenant Chad Brecklin coming into our show monthly, or any officer in that factor. Chad, how are we doing this morning?
Good. How are you doing this morning?
I apologize for calling you an officer, then a sergeant.
As I said as we went off the air, I've been called worse than that. So I think this is my first time joining with Preston as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Usually you have me on solo.
Well, Preston was anxious to meet you.
Right.
I'm just saying.
I weaseled my way in here. I was like, hey, I heard he's
Sure.
going to be on. Let me in there.
Yeah, so we're glad to have you here. And
Well, and hearing the sports segment, I don't know if I'll be able to compete. I mean, we're kind of bringing this show down a little bit with my appearance.
Oh,
so.
I don't know about that.
yeah, I would call myself a tool in that segment. So we'll leave it at that. All right, well, we've got some serious topics to talk about today, and we want to start off with earlier this week. Last week there was a press release that went out for use of force and the task force, and Fitchburg put out a really nice message on kind of how that's going. So kind of give us a little update on that.
Yeah, so obviously in the wake of a lot of high-profile police-related deaths that have happened nationally and locally, a special police community task force was created in Dane County in response to some of those incidents. And the United Way was kind of the coordinating agency behind the task force, and then a broad-based coalition consisting of NAACP, Dane County's chapter support, and then support of community representatives, and then members of the local police chiefs association. Also participated in the task force, did quite a bit of extensive work, listening sessions throughout the community in a variety of areas, and came out with this report last week detailing their recommendations for both police and the community as it relates to use of force.
And in the report, suggested by you guys, there's a lot of things that Fitchburg actually has been working on when it comes to this report.
Yeah.
Community policing comes to mind right out of the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. We've always had a community-oriented / problem-oriented policing philosophy here in Fitchburg. One of the things we've done all the way back to 2008 when we kind of switched away from dedicated community policing unit to more of a district policing model where officers are now assigned and have been since 2008 to a particular area of the city for a multi-year period. And instead of having a group of officers responsible for those community policing activities, we now have the expectation that all of our officers are participating and doing things that are more community-oriented. And we've had some good success with that, and clearly with anything, there's always areas where we might be able to improve on, and we'll continue to look at those and see where we can head.
Awesome, yeah. We're looking forward to maybe doing an additional story with you, too, on the task force and piece, I think, to help explain kind of what the police department does in regards to that report.
Absolutely, and we've implemented a number of things over the years and that are contained as recommendations in this report, and even within the last year, we've done implicit bias training with all of our staff. We've trained staff on de-escalation techniques and transitioning from a higher level of force to a lower level of force. We have mandated use of force reporting in our agency, which means if an officer uses any measure of force to include drawing their firearm, they need to do a police report on that or incident report on that, and those are all reviewed by supervisory staff. And there are a number of other things that we've got in place, and we're taking a more detailed look at that report, and examining other recommendations that are out there that we can look to implement. So, and we'd certainly be interested in doing a more in-depth conversation on that.
Well, there's just a lot to that report,
There
so
is, yeah.
it'd be good to spend a whole lot of time on that. So we'll get to that down the road. Secondary, you have some update for some home burglaries that had been taking place.
Yeah, the last time I visited about a month or so ago, I had mentioned that over in the Jamestown neighborhood, we'd had a number of burglaries, kind of starting back in this far back as November of last year that kind of continued through the winter. And on our night shift, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had another reported burglary take place, and the officers did an outstanding job in tracking a suspect with the use of a police canine from a neighboring jurisdiction to an address in the Jamestown neighborhood, and ultimately took a subject into custody who we believe is responsible for at least some of those burglaries and maybe some, and certainly some crimes associated with the burglaries after the fact as well. So We anticipate some charges forthcoming on that individual in the near future. One of our detectives is working with the district attorney's office on the case now. So it's a good example of some good work by our staff on the night shift in particular, and then getting a call from a community member to say, hey, this just took place, and, get our staff over there real quickly and track somebody down.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've taken up so much time. There's so much stuff.
We'll need to have a
here.
longer segment, I guess.
We do. Maybe we need to get you on more often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever
maybe,
you'd like.
Maybe.
Whatever you'd like.
You see, you didn't drag down this segment. You did just great. So, all right. Well, certainly, if you want to reach out to the police department anytime, give you guys a call down there, email, and
hit our web, hit our Facebook page, hit Twitter. We're trying to get all our methods out there for reaching everybody.
All right, Chad. Thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back. It's Talking Fitchburg.